Everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Southern Boy Farms. I'm Kelvin, and today, March 18th, 2023, and that means it is time, well actually it's 18 days past time, for me to be able to start my watermelon seeds. That's right folks, watermelon in a container 2023. So this year I'm actually going to start by planting two watermelons. One is called the Congo. It's a large size watermelon, and the other one is the all sweet watermelon, which I haven't grown yet, or I started growing it last year in the mound and didn't go right. So go ahead and get started. So I'm over here on this side of the house because I am going to reuse the soil that I used last year for, I believe it was the blacktail watermelon, and I had put that in both, and I'm using 20-gallon cloth pots because they, in my mind, allow me that same opportunity of creating a mound, which I attempted to do last year, but didn't work out so good for the all sweets. I'll figure that out later. But since all of my container watermelons thus far, except for the very first round, all made it, and I was able to enjoy watermelon last year till I was full. Whew. And that's a good feeling, full on watermelon. Anywho, I'm going to reuse this soil because there's nothing wrong with it, okay? So why should I be throwing away soil, getting in new potting soil every single year when I can just take and, how do you want to say, revitalize the soil from last year? So the only times you wouldn't want to revitalize the soil is if you knew for a fact that in the previous growing, you know, the things that you grew in there before, there was some type of soil-borne parasite or fungus or bacteria that affected your plants, or you know, you have some type of pest or that type of thing whose eggs and everything are inside the soil. Well, you don't want to keep perpetuating that over and over, year after year, planting after planting. So yes, I would say and I suggest you too, get rid of that soil. Nobody has time for that, to be going through the same problems year after year when it's preventable. Also, weeds. Weeds are just a natural part of gardening, okay? There's nothing you can do to fully eradicate it. Their seeds travel on the wind so much easier than most other things because, like you and I and every other living thing on this planet, they too want to survive. Cut off their heads by taking off the leaves, they're going to grow back somewhere else, because more than likely when you cut it or you pulled that weed, part of the little seeds that were on the top fell into the ground and they're going to grow. And the only thing that I have found that's worked, short of actually using some type of item that I know is going to kill the weeds, but then may also harm the natural ecological balance of my soil. So I try to leave that out. I wait until the weeds get a little bit higher to where they annoy my eyesight and offend my brain, and then I begin to pull them. If not, I go ahead and I leave it. So what I'm going to do is, I've already pulled the two 20-gallon pots over here. And let me adjust the camera so you all can see. The two pots, and they've got weeds in them, and they've been kept moist and everything like that. But what they don't have right now is all of the nutrients that were soaked up and eaten by the watermelon vines from last year. So I need to replace all of that in order to get the soil back to its initial level of ability to grow watermelons this year. So first thing I'm going to do is pull out all of the weeds. And I find that if the soil is moist enough, and in this case also loose enough, then it becomes real easy to just stick your hand down in there and pull up these weeds, root and all. Gardening should be fun. I don't know about for you, but this isn't my main job, but it's a way that I've chosen to spend my free time, and also to get fruits and vegetables where I know beyond the shadow of a doubt how it was grown. I'm going to take that oversized wheelbarrow, I'm going to dump these two inside there, and then I'm going to mix it with the amendments. All right, so pot number one. And pot number two. Yeah. I even got grass growing into the side of the pot. Well, it is cloth, so the roots can get through. I'll talk to you about that on another time. But overall, I still prefer the cloth ones, because if I needed to, I could throw this in the washing machine on a quick wash, take it out, let it air dry, and I've got a whole new pot to use. So I'm going to mix half and half. I've got about 20 gallons of soil inside here, and I'm going to mix that with 2 bags of the cow manure and compost. Lastly, I'm going to I use the Good Earth. It's organic, all-purpose fertilizer. It has a NPK of 463. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. And for this, it says that I should add a half a cup for every 5 gallons. So I'm going to treat this as just 40 gallons, because the cow manure has a little bit of its own stuff along with the compost, and I don't want to overdo it. All right, so I'm going to thoroughly mix all of this together, and when we come back, I will have already filled up both bags, and it will be time to plant the seeds. Okay, so we'll be right back. Okay, so now it's time to plant. All right, so I'm here on one side of the pool, and what I've found in my studies since the last time I planted watermelon in a container is that letting it grow across a sidewalk or concrete deck or path is just fine. Oh my gosh, all this time I've had plenty of sidewalk that I could let watermelon and some other types of vine grow on, and I've just always said no, it should be growing across the ground. But then I have to cover over the ground, so why couldn't I plant it on the concrete? Well, we're going to find out now. And I found out from University of Florida that it is all right to do. So let's go ahead and do that. And this one here, I'm going to plant the Congo watermelon seeds. And the Congo watermelon gets, all right, so it grows just fine in zones 4 through 11, although another site told me it'll do just fine in zones 3 through 12, and I can believe that because there are many things that I'm growing here on the farm that sites have said, oh no, only grows well through zone 9, and I'm in zone 10B, and they're growing just fine. So you decide what you want to do. Okay, and this is the nice part. This watermelon will get to be about 21 to 24 inches long and about 12 inches wide and average between 35 and 40 pounds. Now, I don't know about you, and I love me some watermelon, but 35 to 40 pounds is a lot. So with this, I can actually share. I'll think about it though. When the time comes, I may not want to. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in here, and the planting should be on a mound. And like I said, I'm going to treat this container as if it were a mound. So I'm going to put a total of 6 seeds inside here in like a diamond pattern around the pot. And then when they come up and they get the first set of true leaves, I'll pick the strongest one in each batch and let that one grow, and it'll grow down the sides of the swimming pool here. Great. Okay, so here are the seeds. Once again, a nice size seed. Doesn't require me to fumble too much or overseed, and I want to put these seeds in at 1 inch. So this to about here is 1 inch. And like I've said before, I like to place my seeds and then push them in so I can see exactly where I have them. Get them covered, and it doesn't have to be pressed down to be covered. You just want to get soil over the top of it. And that's it for that one. I'm going to leave it for the moment because still got one more to do, and that's the Crimson Sweet, which is actually a variety that's recommended here in South Florida because of all the things that South Florida has the potential of having, like fusarium and downy powder mildew. So for that reason and a few others, it's one of the recommended brands. And so this time around with that one, I'm not going to be hard-headed. I'm going to go with what the experts say. Trying to walk with this camera, keep my balance and not fall into the swimming pool. All right, let's get this angle down. Okay. Crimson Sweet watermelon. Again, I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did with the Congo watermelon, and the Crimson watermelon will get to be about 10 to 12 pounds, and And if I've misstated that, I'll put that in the video so you can see. It only gets planted down to a 1/2 inch depth. Its vines will grow 8 to 10 feet long. And that's an average between all the different sites I've seen. And we're going to go ahead and get these in here. Now these, even though I didn't mention it on the Congo watermelon seeds, these two, both of them, will take about 6 to 8 days to germinate. And again, I'm going to place it in 1, 2, 3 with 2 seeds each. And these look like the usual seeds that you're used to seeing coming out of a watermelon. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Press. Yeah, these are the color of the soil. I'm having a little harder time finding it. Okay, there we go. And there we go. All right, turn it back over. And as I always say, that's it. It's easy peasy. Gardening should be fun, and if it's not, well, just re-examine how you're going about doing it. You know, I know for some it has to be exact. And there's so many forms out there. There's the square and doing it in the... I'm not even going to go down the list. Let me just say that there is no singular way in which for you to garden. The best way for you to garden is the way that works best for you. Now, don't be hard-headed like me and make up all of your own designs contrary to the wisdom of those who have actually studied this. And when I say study this, I'm not talking about a lot of us YouTubers out there. I'm talking about people who have actually made this their profession. So if you notice, in each state, you've got a university, and that university is going to have some form of agricultural studies based on what grows well inside their state, and you can get information on those things for yourself. So, not going to beat a dead horse, but I am going to say now is the time for us to get things well watered in. However, you don't need me to show you how to well water in. You'd want to make sure that it's watered all the way to the point where the entire soil, top to bottom, is moist. Not wet, but moist. So, with that, I'll say goodbye. I'm going to do update videos as we go along so you too can thrive and grow along with me. So, love yourself, love those around you. Cost you nothing, but it'll mean so much. Until the next time, thumbs up if you like this one. Make a comment. Let me know what you're planning on growing and how you plan on growing it this year. And much growing success to all of you. Bye.